because he realized that his time is short and he has to double up. And we as children of God must also double up. We should not be comfortable in ourselves and say, oh, thank God I'm saved, I'm all right. Jesus said, when you have found him, we must tell others the story. He didn't say that they must come. He said that we must go into all the world and make disciples, teaching them, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all things that he has commanded us, and he has promised to be with us all the way to the end of this age. So we should not be afraid, because Jesus promised to be with us. The harvest field is ready. It is ripe and must be reaped. And so we are to serve in that field. We are the answer to the prayers of Jesus and his disciples. And if we cannot see ourselves as the answers to Jesus and his disciples' prayer for more workers in the field, we are to see ourselves as workers, and we have to have that compassion for the task. Jesus said the harvest is in abundance. And my friends, when we look at what is happening around us, when we look at how we are failing in our task to work, when we see how we are failing to work in the harvest field, we need to understand that we ought to work. The harvest is in abundance, so we must get to work. Church, our time is now. Our time is now. The Lord of harvest has called and commissioned us for the harvest field. Jesus and his disciples prayed that we would be called and sent to the harvest, because the harvest is great and the workers are few. And so what are we waiting on? We must be working. We must give ourselves fully to the task to work on the harvest field. And finally, Jesus has a burden for more gospel workers. Jesus had a burden for more gospel workers. Should we also, this should also be our burden likewise. So when we are stagnant, when we are not working on the harvest field, then we will be held accountable on the day of reckoning. So, my friends, we should be compassionate. We should be praying. We should be working. we must take personal responsibility to be a worker. Each one of us must take personal responsibility to be a worker. Here is our challenge. Here's our challenge, my friend. If each of us lead one person to Jesus Christ each year, if each one of us lead a person to Christ each year, and they lived as disciples, also lead someone to Jesus the next year, think about how that would change the world. So we have this challenge: work on one person for the year. This is January. By next January, you could present a disciple to Jesus Christ. Have won this one for Christ. So let's work out the maths. Let's see what would happen if each person for the entire year bring one person to Christ. Then the next year, though you bring to Christ, would bring someone to Jesus. The next year, think about how that would change the world. Year one, let's say we have 70 members. Let's think of that. I know on books we have 100 and maybe one. But I'm yet to see that. But think, let's reduce it and say we have 70. In year one, we would have 70 new members. Right? We would have 70 new members if each one bring just one for the year. In year two, we would have 140 new Christians. Because that 70 that we bring will bring another 70, so we would have 140. In year three,